Hello everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you. I am Anand, welcoming you all on behalf of Solar Quarter and First View Group to our webinar on aerial digital technologies and data analysis for solar projects, Middle East edition. Thank you all the attendees for joining us today. I hope all the attendees had a great time networking with your peers in our exhibition tables. If you have not visited, no worries. The platform will be open till 4:30 p.m. today so you can start networking. Let me briefly take you to an overview of today's event. This webinar will explore how aerial technologies can act as a driving force in enhancing the planning, building, and nourishment of solar energy with better profitability and efficiency. It will also highlight how resources such as solar energy can benefit from the technology of the future, specifically drone based solutions, and how each stage of setting up solar power stations can use power digital solutions. So now it's time to begin with our much awaited panel discussion, which will be focused on aerial digital technologies and data analysis for solar projects, Middle East. And to discuss this, we have Mr. Karim Meghabi, EPDA, who is also the moderator for today's session. We also have Mr. Mohammad Salameh, Sensok, Mr. Omar Yusuf, Scatic, Mr. Karel De Winter, HY Energy, so, before we start the panel discussion, I request our attendees to please post their questions in Q&A box. Our panelists will take them at the end. Now, I welcome all our panelists on the screen and requesting Kareem sir to lead the discussion. Over to you, Kareem sir.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Thank you for the kind and nice introduction. And good morning or good afternoon, evening to everyone. I hope you're hearing me fine now with the microphone. Yes, I guess so. I will just introduce myself quickly, and then I let the panelists introduce themselves. So my name is Karim Megerbi, and I'm the founder and executive director of a company called EPDA, which is a project origination platform based in Dubai, mostly active in Asia, Central Asia, a bit of Europe, and a bit of Africa. So a project origination platform means that we are assessing market trends and are monitoring the evolution of the regulatory frameworks, and we're trying to find the right opportunities for our investors. And we mostly work with selected investors, maybe less than 10, and we are working mainly in wind and solar for capacities usually above 20 megawatt up to 100 megawatt. But as everyone knows, this now our sector is booming, and we can see that the size of the transactions are increasing year by year. So our portfolio of projects now sometimes comprises even more than 100, 200 or 300 megawatt opportunities. Okay, so that's this year we have closed 207 megawatt in 4 different countries, and hopefully next year we'll do better. So that was for me. So now let me introduce you to the panelists. So guys, I will go one by one, just following the screen, right? So Mohammed, please introduce yourself and your company, what you're doing.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed, and I'm with SenseHawk. I've been in the renewable energy industry for about 16 years in multiple roles, including technology development, investment, project development, and with SenseHawk with services related to aerial drone inspections, construction progress and quality monitoring, and also operations and maintenance using aerial technology. I'm responsible for the Middle East region, and just to brief you on SenseHawk as a company. SenseHawk started in Silicon Valley in 2018. with the development centers in India. And since then, we received investment from SAFE Partners and Alpha Wave, which is anchored by ADQ, the investment entity of Abu Dhabi government in the UAE. We have served over 50 gigawatts of solar assets in around 18 or 19 countries, served 500 plus sites. And so, yes, we consider ourselves to have some of the best track records in the world when it comes to aerial technology. Thank you.
Wow, great, Mohammed. So great to have you here. Obviously, I have hundreds of questions for you, but it's fantastic.
I'll be
Pre-
happy to answer.
Great. So please, Omar, so if you can introduce yourself and your company.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kareem. Thanks, Mohammed. My name is Omar Yusuf. I'm operation and maintenance manager for almost 550 megawatt of portfolio in Egypt. That contributes to almost 30 to 35% of the solar market share in country. I work for Scatic. Scatic is a leading renewable power producer, delivering affordable and clean energy worldwide. And as a long-term player, Scatic develops, builds, owns, and operates solar, wind, and hydropower plants, including also storage solutions. Scatic has more than 3.5 gigawatt in operation and under construction on 4 continents, and more than 500 employees. Also, one of the targets the company has announced is basically the company has ambitions to target 15 gigawatts capacity in operation and under construction the end of 2025. Scatter's headquarters is in Oslo and Norway, and is listed under the Oslo Stock Exchange. And that's briefly what you should know about Scatic and myself.
Well, great, Omar. Wow, 500 megawatts in Egypt, for sure. It's 35% of the market share. It's a big achievement. Obviously, we followed actually the commissioning of the plants of Scatec in Egypt, and very happy that it's working. And it's a great adventure actually for to do this maintenance and operation of these plants.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Karel, my friend, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Okay. So if you can introduce yourself, your company, what you're doing.
From the giant to the dwarf, huh? 500 megawatt, I can only dream of. But no, I've been in the solar industry about over 12 years here in the Middle East, which makes me a dinosaur in this area. I have been mainly involved on the EPC side, developing opportunities and projects mainly in the CNI sector in the UAE, although we have done also overseas projects. Currently, I'm running, and it's my own company, High Energy, which stands for hybrid energy, focusing on storage-based solar-coupled solutions. Focusing also on off-grid activities. Second company is involved on installation services in Dubai on the CNI market. And looking forward to the seminar. I think that would be enough as an intro.
Okay, thanks, Gary. So, well, let me just put a little bit the background of our discussion, and then maybe ask few questions. So, to be honest, my knowledge in aerial and basically drone, right, monitoring, is very poor, and so I'm glad actually that I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot from you. Basically, my understanding is that there are two sectors for which it's very interesting. You have even for the rooftop, for example, when you go, you can actually go on the top of the cities and just assess, for example, the rooftop availabilities for solar and potential of development. So it's way more it's way easier, right, to use this drone supervision and try to draw map out of that. And I guess this mapping could be also done for ground-based, projects, because then you want to, the larger the project they are, then you want to actually have an overview of the full land. So we are all using Google Earth, but I guess that you will tell me like what are the different features that I can get from these digital technologies. And then also you have for the monitoring. And the monitoring, for example, to monitor to find the heat spot on the module. So you have the thermal monitoring, and for sure, I understand that you have like a thermal cameras on the drone, and that you can see if there is some heat coming from somewhere, then maybe you need to change the panel or something is wrong and things. But then can we go for the drone pouring water from the air to clean the panels? I don't know. But you will tell us, in details, like how does it work, like please be concrete in your answers, because that's, and understand the cost of the overall solution. So maybe Mohammed, like we can start with you. So please, can you describe a little bit, your product, how it works, what are the advantages, for the sector?
Well, I will talk about this in general. The industry in general is facing a lot of competition, and the developer that can actually control the cost of either construction or operations and maintenance will be able to offer a more competitive tariff. And in this regard, we see a lot of interest in the industry to use technologies that will basically save on time for all the operations, and also prevent mistakes, and provide better control over the operations, either in the development or in the construction, or the operations and maintenance stages. The drone is a very efficient data collection media. So as an example, I guess that when it comes to thermography, using a handheld device will probably require 2 months to scan the same area that a drone can scan in one day. So with this, you can imagine the cost benefit of this. Also, now with the artificial intelligence based analytics, we are able to provide analysis for a large amount of data or large sites, also in a quick manner. This is also another cost saving mechanism. In addition to being able to provide the reports quickly, which allows the project owner and O&M provider to reduce the downtime of the project. Now, we couple all of this with tools to help drive the work flow on site. So we give the reports, we prioritize the issues, we provide tools for our client to collaborate, create punch lists, checklists, assign tasks, and follow up either on site or in office. Another advantage of this too is giving the ability to asset managers to be able to manage multiple sites at once. And also, this is something that we noticed during the COVID era, which is reducing traveling cost. So all in all, we're talking about a more efficient manner of collecting and analyzing data, and also in presenting this data and provide the tools to cater to more efficient workflow management. So, yeah.
Okay, and thank you. So Omar, are you using drone? Don't tell us you don't use drone, right? You have to use drone. So do you use drone, and how do you use them? What kind of data do you collect, and how do you see the added value of that? If you can explain to us how it is integrated to your O&M scope.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't? But the thing is, it's always the limitations to use drones, and that might be the point we're gonna discuss also in housing and outsourcing. Mainly using drones is limited by the country's readiness and legislations to adopt such technologies. And For instance, if we speak about the Middle East, and this is exactly the area of discussion today, I think drones has not been familiar to us, and it will take the same route of GBS when it started in our countries. We are very protective as Arab nations, and also we have some boundaries when it comes to, let's say, scanning using drones or even using GBS without informing authorities. However, the renewable transition is faster than our recognition to drones, and drones is becoming, let's say, a topic on the table now for authorities. And I think after 3 years, I think it's been possible to do that this year, to fly a drone for the first time for commercial use in Egypt, which is really interesting. We're also having some power plants in Jordan that it has been also challenged, but I know that this challenge has been also overcome, and drones can fly also in Jordan. So that's really interesting. It's not also surprising when you know that those countries has started their solar portfolios 1 or 2 years ago on a mega scale. So that's the natural, let's say, the natural evolution of the industry and the O&M practices. I'm not gonna even go into more details about that. I would be awaiting more questions to come because it's really interesting topic about why we use drones and we're not using manual thermal scanning, because that has been the practice since forever. And for those countries who cannot afford a drone, or even for smaller portfolios that drone might be high cost for them, like rooftops and small solar scale power plants or even irrigation systems, it doesn't make any sense to invest in a drone here, since minding the cost of the technology itself. But also there are solutions to adopt drones into these small applications. And we will discuss that in more details.
Yeah, sure. It's very interesting. So, Karel, I mean, do you share this idea that costs are difficult for smaller scale projects or for rooftops? I thought that it was still a good solution, no? Or how do you?
Yes, yes, I think it's still a very good solution for rooftops. Maybe you have to put it in perspective, right? You build a solar system once, but you're operating it for 25 years. So for the owner to have access to such a technology that allows them to do it faster, to have a better, deeper analysis, makes a lot of sense. And also, certain consultants, like for example, Clenergize, are already specifying it on a regular basis in all their O&M recommendations that at least once a year, a drone survey, an analysis, so to speak, of the rooftop should be done, because you can identify quite some activities that you want to find out earlier than sooner. So I unfortunately disagree with you, Omar. I think in CNI sector it makes a lot of sense, and yeah, the same benefits apply and safeguard the owner of the system from things that may be lurking under the surface.
Maybe we are both right, Carol. Drone scanning is really important. Maybe the point I was pointing at is basically the cost effectiveness for small projects to own a drone or to outsource a drone.
That's true, but
that might be the point. But definitely, this is the ultimate way to pick up anomalies in PV modules. That's what we are.
Maybe a small add-on to that. And to put some numbers on that, because I'm sure that the audience is very interested in how much such a technology would cost. And in these days, we're moving into an economy where you less and less own the asset. Lots of things are available on lease or on rent or on timeshare, what you name it. Very interesting business models are available. So just to put things in perspective, we've applied drone technology at the handover of our plant, which was the Mall of the Emirates 2 megawatt site. But I think these days to have a drone analysis done for hotspots, for string issues, for junction box issues, you name it, let's say on a 3 megawatt site, would in the UAE not cost you more than 15,000 dirhams. And out of this, 6,000 dirhams is the permitting cost, which is crazy high, but that puts the things in perspective, right? It's not an unsurmountable cost of money for giving peace of mind to owners for sizes of plants megawatt and above.
Well, it's still, but still, it's not a small amount, right? If you are just, if you just have a small rooftop, obviously for like citizen, who has just his solar on his rooftop, it's difficult, to manage that. It's usually for like, as you said, maybe 2 megawatt rooftop. No, if I am just, someone with on my roof with few panels. Can I hire someone on the O&M? Is it included, the drone, or even if the drone, the property actually is the drone itself is owned by the O&M company? Will it cost me, as someone who is the owner of a small plant, 15,000 dirhams?
I think if you're talking about small rooftops, a couple of panels, then the manual hand devices are probably more pragmatic to work with. If you're going in systems that are a megawatt and above, and the O&M company owns the drone, or even leases it on a day basis, you've heard from Mr. Mohammed, you can do a lot in a much shorter time. Then that already makes sense. O&M cost in the UAE at least, maybe you're talking $13 per year per kilowatt peak. So here, this drone one-time check a year would be 1.5 cents on that. So it's not that much addition to the cost on the annual budget.
So Mohammed, I mean, do you confirm that? Who are your clients, and how usually are your drones used actually?
Well, actually, we encourage our clients to own and operate their own drones. So whenever is possible, we support our clients with establishing the drone data collection program in-house. We provide them with training, and with every data collection campaign, we are willing to give them the flight mission with parameters to conduct data collection properly. So we realize that this is going to be a repetitive process, and if we can help our client reducing cost by doing data collection by themselves, we totally support that.
And who are your clients in Jordan? Because I understand that now the development of large-scale projects is very difficult actually in Jordan. And so mostly you are in this 1 megawatt program, rooftop, etc., which is coming. So who exactly are your main clients? I mean, what's your business now?
Well, okay. Now we are actually a company that was established in Silicon Valley in the US. So most of our clients are in the US. And with the investment of Alpha Wave and ADQ, we established headquarters here in the UAE. But pretty much we worked with multiple and actually a lot of blue chip companies. Ranging from developers such as FRV, EDF, Renewable, SunPower, Eden Renewables, NG, EPC contractors such as Mortensen, Sterling and Wilson, O&M providers such as First Solar, SunPower, independent engineers such as TUV, Black and Veatch, FTC, solar. So if the question about specifically in Jordan, probably Jordan is one country we did not work in. Yeah, and this is actually attributed to the comment that Omar made about security awareness, bureaucracy, in being able to operate a drone. So sometimes you have to have a commercial case on the size of the market and the cost of time and money to be able to operate in that specific country. However, we've done over 50,000 megawatts in 20 countries, such as Australia, the US, Chile, in Egypt, in the UAE, and many more countries.
Okay, okay, thanks. So Omar, can you tell us more about, what kind of data you collect actually with the drone? Is it only thermal, or is this thermography, or do you also collect other data? And you were, about to discuss about cost and so on. I think that's a great topic also.
Yeah, so I think that maybe to narrow things down for O&M, I want to also speak about O&M because you have to know your audience. And I see from the board, and we have almost 50% of the participants are coming from EPC background, which is really interesting. But also the terms that I want to narrow down is basically from thermal imaging. You want to collect thermal imaging of the modules, but not a certain or a single module. You need to collect thermal imaging for bigger set of modules, so you can see the plant from above in a way that you're not isolating every module separately. The way we were doing that in the past is using handheld cameras, and in this way, it's really impossible to capture more than one or two modules at one picture, let alone the effort you have to put to analyze and report all these thousands of images. So with drone, there are advantages of the time, and in a few days you can scan plant, while you can do that in 50, 60 days using handheld camera. The data accuracy is higher. We've run 3 years ago an analysis on how much issues in modules we can capture using handheld and drones. And drones has proven that there is 30% to 40% improvement in the faults you can capture. You need a very skilled person to do the manual to analyze this data while taking pictures, and you have to set a perfect condition for every picture you take, and this is impossible for a plant averaging 170,000 modules. So that's on the, let's say, on the time and the reporting, and that's easy to imagine. But what's really what we have found is basically that the cost you invest in drone when you outsource. I'm going to mention numbers now. That was an analysis 3 years ago. We have invested $14,000 in one country in Africa, and actually the losses or the losses implication of the issues has been detected was $95,000. And that gives a clear equation of how much you invest and how much you can save production-wise, and that of course depends on the location and the technology used. But going back to that point of in-house and outsourcing, and that's really interesting having Carol and Muhammad here, and you, Kareem, because I want to hear also from your side. How do you see that from your side? How are you going to convince me, or from your position, what do you see? How can you take a decision of insourcing or outsourcing? And that's basically one of the main aspects of this discussion here. There are many aspects you have to know when you start thinking about drones. If the technology is available, of course, and now it is. I think if you want to insource, you have to understand the capacity and the necessity, and the very simple questions you need to answer. How much capacity do you have of solar portfolios, and how frequent do you want to do that? The frequency might be according to standards. You can do that once annually, but some plants has special needs. This special needs can be environmental, like grass or soiling, or might be technological challenges related to the technology itself. Yes, Carol?
Yes, wait,
Keep it
Carol,
with you,
Carol, can you off
because I don't trust
your,
that I got too much.
No problem.
Carol, can
Not-
you off your cam? Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, please, Omar, continue.
Yeah, that's basically the main questions we need to ask ourselves. But if you decided to insource that, I mean, you need to understand that you need to train a pilot, and you need a highly skilled pilot. That comes with the cost also. You need to purchase a drone, and maybe this is the most obvious cost in the whole equation. You need to purchase a drone and the camera set, the RGB and the IR camera that's going to be used for this application, and this is also a very known thing. However, there are some risks that you need to think of and take some precautions against. Basically, the risk tolerance of flying and the insurance of your assets. Outsourcing seems more on the safe side here, because you outsource a company that they're gonna take care of the whole thermal scan, while you do in-house. And it happened before that you might drop the drone itself, and that happens sometimes. You might run out of battery, you might have inherent issue in the battery itself, or worst cases, you can drop the drone above one of your valuable assets and can cause a fire. So it's also risky, and you have to materialize this risk into cost element to take your decision here between insourcing and outsourcing. And of course, the bigger the portfolio is, the lower the risk as a weight in the whole investment. And also, there are also some mitigation ways as insurance. That's mainly, let's say, some aspects that I can see that you can consider also when you try to take a decision like that. But I'm really eager to learn more from Mohammed, Carol, and you, Karim, from your perspectives.
Sure. I don't know who wants to reply, Mohammed or Carol, to Omar's request. I think he has a fair point, right? Either you have a company which is specialized in, doing this drone survey and managing that and managing the reports and having their own insurance actually to work on that. Although having the own insurance will not really solve that, right? Because the damage, as explained by Omar, I'm surprised actually, because now I can see that the drone will put the whole plant in fire. So I don't know if it can happen, but definitely, I mean, yeah. So he has a point, right? So you have some people
Definitely,
that are trained.
definitely.
So, yeah.
Well, what I can say here is that we offer our clients the two options. Wherever the case is commercially, technically, and legally feasible, and they would like to do it, we help them with that. So it depends. It depends. I mean, sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes it doesn't. In construction projects, as an example, not with O&M now, to monitor the progress and the quality of a construction project, you need to do scans frequently. So sometimes these scans happen every week, sometimes every 2 weeks, sometimes every month. But over a lifetime of project construction, they will be able to use the cost they used to buy the drone in a very good manner. So again, it's all about the commercial feasibility, technical feasibility, and the legality of that one.
Okay, and Karen, we're talking about price. I'm a bit surprised. I mean, I understand that for sure you need to train someone. That's very clear, and there are some risks associated to that. That I understand, but the overall, I would say, device, right? Like how many drones do you need, and how much it costs, and plus the camera and so on. Is it that costly? I don't realize that. I mean, I don't know about that.
I think on the cost per drone, maybe Mr. Mohammed can inform more than me. But I think the point been touched upon, right? It's a matter of scale. It's a matter of how much control you want to have yourself. Matter of security of data. So all these elements will play. It's different segments in the market will have different solutions. That's how it is. I'm a big proponent for outsourcing, but then again, outsourcing is not a one glove fits all solution. There are certain things that you have to keep in mind when you go into this area. If you're using it occasionally, even if you're an EPC company that builds maybe 20, 30 systems a year, do you need to own it, or can you rely upon a third party that can take part of that capex cost away from you? I believe yes. Is it something that you want to market yourself with as, look, we're doing this specifically and the market will appreciate that, and you want to control that more in your own hand? Also possible. So the market can decide on that, whether it's to be outsourced or not.
Great. So Mohammed, maybe you can comment on the price. I mean, we're not negotiating the prices right now, huh? But just tell us, kind of an idea. And also, I'm interested to know, and I see that in the audience that actually there is one question about it. I think it's a good question about the, what's the, what are the different services? I understand there is thermography, but do you have other things like someone is mentioning electroluminescence? So I honestly I have no idea. So I don't know how much services you can provide with the drone.
Okay, so that's two questions.
Yeah, there are two questions. Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
again, so every case is independent. As an example, we have seen projects where the tariff was as low as 1 cent per kilowatt hour. Okay, and we have seen projects such as in Jordan where the tariff is 17 US cents. So different tariffs can handle different costs for O&M and CapEx. So that's one. But just to give you a hint, I don't sell drones. But you can buy a drone with the equipment for a price of a car for the project, and sometimes less. So it's not an out of space number. We are probably talking about numbers between $15,000 to $30,000. So I think this number is attainable. Now, as far as the second question of the services that we present. Now, again, we collect the data, we create a digital twin. Now, we use apps, so you will be able to interact with the digital twin in different project stages. So when we're talking about the pre-construction stage, we can provide the terrain models, allowing site planning, contour mapping, boundary management, site cleaning, hydrology analysis, and volumetric calculations of cutting and filling. Now, all of this allows for a better engineering design. Now, we're talking about processes that might take a month in the conventional way. We can provide in a few days with a cost that is, 25 to 35% less than the conventional, with higher quality. That's for sure. We also provide services related to construction progress and quality of construction. So things related to counts at the component level during construction, status in terms of completion, comparisons of installation between dates. This includes civil work, inventory, and equipment usage and movement. On the quality side, we provide analysis of conformance to design for leveling and grading, pile locations, pile heights, conformance within tracker, row, or structure, trenching progress, and deviation, and a lot more deviation issues. On the O&M side, we can actually identify hotspots, open circuits, short circuits, bypass diode active, module failures, cracks, and other issues related to shading, dust, vegetation. All in all, even like when we're talking about thermography is actually required at the commissioning stage of the EPC contract. And believe it or not, we enable, on average, we enable warranty replacement of 1,000 panels per 100 megawatt. Actually, 2,000 panels, sorry, 2,000 panels per 100 megawatt. This is in commissioning stage, at the stage where you actually energize the project. This is on day one. So pretty much this is what we provide. However, we complement this with a platform to allow you to interact with your project remotely and manage a workflow and use it as a one source, one single source of truth for all your project data, from pre-construction and development to O&M. I mean, the more data you can have. Now, the problem, especially in the development and the construction stage, is that data is divided between multiple parties, some with the engineering design company, some with the APC contractor. And by the time you get to the O&M stage, having this amount of data will actually help you manage your project more efficiently.
Oh,
This is the beauty of this, is that you have all your project data in one place.
Mohamed, I don't build and I don't do O&M, but I think I still get, you will get a contract from me, I think. It's good. So, no, I mean, it's great, honestly. It's very interesting. There's a lot of things to be done, and I can see actually clearly the advantages. I mean, as I also participate in the construction and O&M and all these activities and even pre-development and so on, I can see actually the added value. So, but as I mentioned, actually as a joke, obviously, I'm not the one to be convinced. It's Omar who needs to be convinced. So Omar, what's your view now?
Omar is convinced. He's a progressive thinking person.
Yeah, of course, it's a business at the end of the day, and you want to run it in the most efficient way. Maybe adding on the last point we have discussed between in-housing and outsourcing, you still need to outsource your analytics service anyway. This is way advanced to be done in-house, so you can buy the drone, fly it, but you need to outsource someone to do all the analysis to you, because there is a lot of services comes to O&M, and this is exactly what I want to direct my message to O&M people participated in this poll. It's basically that in O&M we have 4 to 60 modules depicted per megawatt in larger scale modules, larger scale solar plants. That varies depending on the technology and the environment. And this number, if you want to put a time tag in it, this is an annual, let's say, failure rate on the module side related to inherent modules issues. And basically what you can get from that is basically something more interesting to analytics people, because the plant will keep producing power as it is, and here we call it, let's say, a chronic disease or underperformance. Which is basically you can't see, you can't feel, but your monitoring devices that we're used to are showing everything green and performing well. Surprisingly enough, those losses might be as severe as 1 to 2% of the power production, and you can't pick. So those chronic losses that actually tells you that every time you postpone this activity, you've lost some power that you can't get back in the project lifetime of 25 years. And there are also even more deeper issues that you can see from thermal cameras. It's basically the LID, or light-induced degradation, and PID, and potential induced degradation. And usually we use these numbers in financial models as percentage from PV module manufacturers. They give you that you lose 0.5% of PID every year, and your LID will not exceed the 1.5%. In practice, it's really difficult to measure those values and verify the manufacturer promises. And every day you don't take a decision here, you're actually not getting losses back, and you lose this potential benefit of this business case anyway. I see also that the
Sorry,
thermal camera can.
how can you monitor LID actually with drone? Because to be fair, I thought that LID you would use like a reference cell and so on, you know. So how do you, what's the use of drone for measuring LID? How do you do that?
This is actually one of the things that I hope artificial intelligence can sort out in the future. But as basic thing, you can see actually the discoloring or the heat distribution on a string of modules. So the heat distribution on a string of modules, meaning that you look at a string of modules collectively, and then you can see the heat is distributing from the negative to the positive side. And there is no way you can see that until you analyze the delta T of the first and the last module in a string. That can give you an indication, but there is no way you can measure it. It's just visual imaging. But always, I'm having some belief in artificial intelligence and software is being used now to translate that into power losses. Because what I see also lacking in these platforms and third-party services for analysis is basically giving you an accurate estimate of how much you lose. Because the client, at the end of the day, want actionable data. I mean, you can give me that you have 3,000 hotspots in your plant. That's really interesting. But I'm not going to change 3,000 modules today. I will never do that. I want to see the financial benefit of doing that today. And how can you enthuse me to do that? And it's basically, you have to understand what is the risk. I mean, if there are at least 10% of those modules with delta T above 20 degrees, then that means that you have a risk of fire on those modules. And therefore, I can make an actionable plan. You have 3,000 hotspots, 10% of them has to be replaced because there's an HSE risk. But the rest, you are losing that amount of power. And give that, let's say, decision tool to the owner and the asset management to decide. I'm going to replace 100 modules and I'm going to save these losses. Does it worth it or not? And that's really important thing, maybe, or aspect that has to be, let's say, considered in the future, from my opinion.
Yeah, good point, Karel. I mean, can you comment on that? I mean, how do you see drone actually being used a lot in the UAE? I mean, do you have the right actually to use drone in the UAE? It seems yes, right? So in this case, how often it is used, and what are the benefits that you see? Yeah, you're mute. You just unmute your yeah.
Yes. So yes, you have the right in UAE to use it. You have to, of course, get a permit for it, which I said is costing you around 6,000 dirhams. And yes, I'm also quite interested to see if many people use it. So I just raised a poll to see how many participants have actually used drone technology on their projects.
Excellent.
I think this may expand, of course, outside of the UAE, but that's fine. We'll give a good view whether people are doing that. As in many new technologies, it's picked up by the leading crowd, and then the rest follows. So I think the qualitative companies, the qualitative consultants, the leading clients are already considering this common practice. To do it. It has so many advantages from all different angles that this will become common practice. It's just the speed by which the market is taking it up that may delay a bit. But yes, in any major project, you will see it. It saves time, it saves money, It's easy reporting. Even imagine insurance companies. Say, for example, if you have a large hailstorm going over a utility scale plant in India, how are you're not going to physically one by one count the modules, are you? You're going to do this on a mathematical and AI type solution. So the technology is here to stay and can only increase in use.
You know, I remember, I think 15 years ago when we were talking about thermal monitoring, we were talking about crane, right? And on the top of the crane, there was a camera overseeing the side. So I guess I can see the advantage of doing that with a drone. Anand, I think it's how many minutes we have? I think it's time, or tell us, how long we still have.
So we have almost 30 minutes. So if you want, we can continue. Or we also have few
Okay.
questions. We can also
Okay.
do
Yes.
that.
Let me ask, like, maybe we can, just have one last questions, to have kind of, conclusion, and, see the, let's say, how it will evolve in the future. How do you see drones actually being, the completely integrated in the O&M? What are the different possibilities offered by drone? I think Omar mentioned already the AI, sorry, in English, intelligence, artificial AI, yes.
That's
AI.
French.
Voilà,
Intelligence
exactly, that's right.
artificielle, AI.
AI. Yeah.
You guys always turn everything around.
Exactly. So yes, like there's this one, but maybe there are others. So Mohammed, please, tell us, what's the future of these services, and how do you see this market evolve, this service evolve?
Well, as with every technology, efficiency increases and cost goes down. Now there are two parts of this to this. One is the data collection device, which is a drone in this case. Definitely, now we are seeing drones that are more efficient in terms of flight time, and this is mainly due to the development of the battery technology. So definitely on this side, there are a lot of developments, but also on the other side, on the analytics side. Algorithms are developing. I will just tell you some numbers about what we can achieve as SenseHawk. I can tell you that the current level of verified accuracy for counts, which is very important in the construction progress monitoring, is 99.7%. So in construction issue detection, it's around 98%. And in thermography, as far as sensitivity, it's 100%, but there is the classification which goes down to around 98%. So pretty much we can detect all the issues, but we might miss classification of 1 to 2% of that. So as far as technology goes, I think it's in a very advanced stage, and it will only become more advanced now with also the advancement of sensors and cameras. As an example now, and when we talk about construction quality, we can deliver tolerance or quality checks according to tolerance levels of 0.8 centimeters. So in the 8 millimeters, this when we're talking about elevations or alignment, which is becoming very important for solar plants because you're using robots now for cleaning, as an example. So you cannot afford a lot of deviation in alignment or in elevation. So we are high up there, and the technology is developing every day. Also, it's becoming cost efficient. If you allow me to mention, because we did 50,000 megawatts, so we were able to amass a lot of data from which we can draw conclusions. So in an EPC contract, as an example, what we have seen is that on average, we save the EPC project between 4 and 6%. Now, when you are talking about mistakes that get caught on time before they aggravate and before they become expensive to fix, that's one. In the US, as an example, during the COVID time, we caught an issue with elevation and alignment of piles. And if we did not catch this on time, the project would have had to wait 2 months to be able to bring the ramming machine back on site. And 2 months in a construction project means a lot of cost. So just a few examples of this. In O&M, we have seen that we can save between 1 and 5% on O&M cost. Again, you can talk to consultants who will give you numbers in the 20 and 25%. But honestly, we got our hands dirty in this, and we have the data to support our claims, and probably also increase the output of the project by 5%. We have seen this. And the pre-construction, it's a straightforward process, so we are saving people between 20 and 25, 35% on the pre-construction development phase. So definitely it's worth it. It's cost effective. It's commercially feasible. It gives you the advantage of being able to finish the project on time. It gives you the advantage of being able to amass all the project data from day one until the end of the life of the project cycle of O&M. So it comes with benefit. All I can say here is that data and knowledge are power. So if we can use them, then we should.
No, I think it's a good point. To be fair, it's a bit new for me. So I hearing from all these topics that you raised, that I learned a lot. As I can share some of my experience, my little experience about that, which is in the development of the projects. To be honest, before we were using a lot Google Earth, and if I take countries like Bangladesh, where honestly it's very difficult. Sites are very complicated. You have hydrology issues. You don't know exactly what you have on your land, etc. And now I can see more and more developers using drones actually, and I'm receiving myself now in a Dropbox. When I have the different items related to the projects. There's always now, more and more, not always, but there's more and more a video taken from a drone saying that, look, this is the site, this is what you have, etc. So obviously, I don't have all the analysis that you are providing because I myself is not the developer, but for sure I can see, I was also a developer in the past, and I can see the benefits from that because obviously you want to understand better, just as you said, for example, the cleaning, you want to see how to exactly is the site for the topography and how to do everything. So honestly, I can really see the advantages in terms of cost, in terms of, like kind of protection, like you kind of can flag some of the difficulties that you may face in the future, and having these cameras and capturing a lot of data and then analyzes this data during the development. I'm myself is not really PC or O&M, so I can, I'm more involved in the development, and I can see actually the advantages of using that, for sure. for sure. And it can even
Conventional
replace.
surveying, Kareem, if you allow me, I'm sorry.
No, please.
Conventional surveying, they will come back usually to you with a ground sampling of 5 meters by 5 meters. I in one-fourth the time and pretty much half the cost, I can come back to you with 1.5 centimeters. And so the amount of data that you get, the amount of details that you get on the site and the site features will probably prevent you from making any mistakes, either in design or in estimation of cost.
Yeah, I don't know if you can replace everything or if it's complementary, and then you can also manage during the development time, right? Like, for example, if you do it as a preliminary work, you do it with a drone, and then at a later stage, you will go on site, visit with, I don't know what you will do on the drone. Maybe also, it depends on the strategy and how you adjust, the cost, because the whole point of the whole development strategy is based on how you're going to manage cost and risk during the development time, right? And so you trigger some cost as only a certain time as the risk profile of the transaction is getting lower and lower, and then your development
Now
costs
you're
are
talking as a
increasing.
developer.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct.
I was a developer myself.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's why
So
I can see.
all the team in the company actually have this development and solar developer slash EPC background, and this is why when we built this, we made sure that we address all the issues, that all the pains faced by the developers and EPC contractors. And again, I'm sorry because I interrupted you.
No, please. That's no. Okay, so maybe Omar, just a few words to wrap up a little bit, and how do you see the future, and even on your plans actually, and. But by the way, we didn't discuss the point that, so maybe you can address that, and then after conclude, we didn't address the point of the weather, right? Because frankly, in the UAE or in Egypt where you are, the drone is going to melt basically. So I guess now it's not going to melt, and so you have special drones, right, designed for that. But with the sand and so on, I guess as you mentioned, we have to have a clear sky and perfect weather condition to run your drone. So is it is it like a real issue, the temperature and climate and everything, or it's manageable, for
Yeah, I will maybe start with this one. I think it's there is a solutions for that. We have also some advantages that we have the lowest rate of coverage days per year. Sorry, for the cloud coverage or the cloudy days per year, meaning that you can actually fly a drone in winter in our country, since we don't have a lot of clouds when the temperature is low and the irradiance is above the limit acceptable to get some reliable data and information from the thermal scan. If you want to do that in summer, also there are some periods like maybe the spring and autumn where temperature is a bit dropping, maybe below the 40 or 45. Drones can fly, but the impact would be on batteries. So usually if you own the drone, you're going to have a lot of set of batteries that you need to charge. And also there are, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so sometimes, yeah, exactly. If you want to do it in a short period of time, so that's something you might consider, but it's not very challenging and it's doable. It has been done already in UAE and in Egypt and also in Jordan, so it is doable. And on the second question, I think also what is actually the benefit or the takeaway for analytics and O&M people participating with us today? And it's basically operation and maintenance or asset management is a long marathon, and warranty claims is something really important. It takes from 2 to 5 years to claim warranty against module manufacturers. And the reason why is there is a hotspot. Okay, we understand, but what is the reason for it? And this is the long debate that I anticipate artificial intelligence and development of technology can resolve in the future. It might be a problem due to construction phase, mishandling of modules, maybe offloading, shipment, or might be over torquing and installation problems. It might be operation problem, might be while you clean modules, especially if you use robots. You might be using tractors for cleaning, or you might be using manual cleaning. And all those reasons, all those aspects, if has not been monitored and handled, could be a reason for hotspot, or a damage in the module, or a micro crack inside the module itself. And that's really important to empower clients with this information, especially for analytics services and third parties, with this root cause of those issues in the modules. So clients and asset manager can process this data properly and can reduce this cycle of warranty claim. And I've been into many myself, and none of them has been closed yet. It started 3-4 years ago. It takes a lot of time, and you need to do maybe a further test to prove your point. Spare parts management is really important, and this is another point. Now, as we speak, module prices are skyrocketing. Makes it really challenging for people to develop and construct new projects. But what about O&M? O&M has two problems. First of all, module models are outdated in the future. And believe me or not, after 5 years from now, you find at least 70 to 60% of the module manufacturers has been bankrupted, or the models is not being manufactured anymore. The problem is not of replacing your old modules with new models. It's basically with the structure of your PPA, or the power purchase agreements with the government. And that if you want to change the design, you have to change your PPA, and governments would take an advantage to change also your tariff. So you won't even bring this topic on the table. So having your models outdated is a problem, and understanding the failure rate at early stage can enable you to order big quantity of modules at least for 10 years until you solve your problems with your contracts. And most importantly, and finally from my side, is communication and expectation with your stakeholders, especially with module performance, because business models are built for 25 years. So we're not very happy with the first 2 years when we are overproducing, because there are still investors looking for their asset and their investment to mature in 25 years. And these problems will start in the 5th, 6th, 7th year. And then you start to see a huge degradation that you didn't anticipate, might impact a lot your share price if you are listed in the stock market, or your reputation as a company. And that's how I ended from my side.
Yeah, Omar, this is a very professional talk. Clearly, you know that's O&M is a tough part, and this is clearly, you know, you have to take care of your babies. I can see that, and of your stakeholders. You know, so
Definitely.
yeah. So for sure, it's always interesting to see how, you know, how you go, you know, deeply into all these you know, problems between how to manage. Is it you know, try to find actually when there is a problem, who is responsible for what, and what kind of guarantees it will trigger, what kind of consequences to your stakeholders, etc. So yeah, I see. You know, it's very interesting to see that actually drone can be part of that actually also. So it's maybe Karel, a few words.
Specifically on where I see this going?
No, yeah, like, exactly. Well, you know, some kind of wrap up, like a few takeaways of what we've been discussing, and also where do you see this you know, technology is going?
Okay. Well, as I said, I'm the dwarf here amongst these giants, but at least I know how a dwarf can see further than the giants by standing on the shoulders of them, right? So I learned a lot today on this new topic. I did mention already, I think I see the applications on this only growing, costs reducing, speed of execution increasing. I think the benefits are manifold. Maybe certain topics cannot be, or certain piece of analysis like microcracks maybe not be possible yet. I don't know. But I think sooner or later solutions on that side will also be coming forward. And this talk also gave me quite good ideas, because High Energy is a company that focuses on hybrid systems, often remote. So you can imagine travel cost is huge. So it would be fantastic to have drone stations scattered on different areas. Just dispatch a drone to have a closer visual look of the site before we put forward a quotation. Maybe a business idea that we can bring out, Mohammed, if you're interested. We can
I'm
discuss
also interested.
offline. I think drone control from a central operation center somewhere in India or in the US is not only for military. Let's also apply it for deployment of renewables. And the more of these tools we bring to the forefront, the faster the uptake will go. So a lot to be expected.
Anytime.
Cool. Okay, great. Well, I think that's it, right? We've covered a lot of topics, and I can see that there were a few questions that we have already addressed from the audience, and so I guess we can conclude now. Anand, maybe you want to conclude?
Yes, sir. We have one question. I think aerial digital technology is costly. Will it mitigate loss to profit conversion? I think, have you taken that question? I guess.
No, but I think we have addressed it already. We have already, during our discussion, I think even Mohammed actually gave numbers and details. Do you want us to come back again on this topic? Or though Omar actually raised the fact that he was not to convince him, you need to have some kind of business model, right? Like what are the costs avoided and what's the benefit? And I think Mohammed already replied to that and gave some detailed numbers about the losses that can be avoided, and with even concrete examples. If I'm correct, no, Mohammed and Omar, right? I think we already addressed that, no?
Okay.
There is one
Yeah, please.
one last symptom of using this, aside from cost, but people on site, they start to go home earlier, believe it or not.
So,
Okay.
Kareem, sir, would you like to sum up the takeaway points from this discussion?
No, I mean, well, I think we already made the wrap up with the conclusion. But if I just give a few words, I would just thank everyone. Thanks to the panelists, thanks the audience to be there, and thanks Solar Quarter for airing this very interesting topic actually. And yeah, that's. I think we can see the advantages of drones, and that it's not a simple actually matter. It's not just about buying a drone and just fly it above your plants, but there are plenty of services and plenty of risk and the training and cost and advantages to do that. And so and if you want to integrate drone into either the development or the construction or the operation, you can actually use them for different services, and they have different advantages. But all that actually needs to have a proper strategy, and there are professionals. Actually, there are companies which are dedicated to that, and you can check with these companies what the kind of services they do and how they do it and how much it costs, and then analyze yourself the benefit of outsourcing it, or having some people to train. You train some people and then you manage it by yourself. There are different cases. So it's really made on the case by case basis, which is honestly not a surprise conclusion, because as we know it in renewable, although we want to develop a standardized system, at the end of the day, each project is a bit different. And so we really have to understand the specificities, is particular depending on the country, on the size, and on the project itself, if it's small, rooftop, or the large ground-based projects.
Thank you, sir. So, thank you very much to our esteemed panel for this wonderful session, and very special thanks to Kareem sir for superbly managing this session. Uh, So thank you everyone for extending your time and support for this event. We promise to come back with more exciting topics very soon. So now the floor is open for networking. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Anand.